3 months after her divorce, Danielle's family sat down for Sunday dinner.
Then Marcus Webb's face filled every screen in the state, a $3 billion winner.
The same man they mocked for being broke. Forks froze, mouths fell open.
Danielle, still wearing her own ring, whispered,
"That's my ex-husband."
Marcus Webb had calloused hands and a quiet way of speaking, the kind of man who fixed other people's wiring at 2 in the morning and still made it to church by 9. He'd been an electrician for 11 years, working double shifts through Houston summers so brutal the sweat soaked through his coveralls before noon. He loved his work. He was good at it. But the checks never quite caught up to the bills, and some months he paid the electric company 3-4 days late, standing in line at the payment counter with his head down, embarrassed that a man who wired other people's homes couldn't always keep the lights on in his own. His wife, Danielle, worked as a secretary at a downtown law firm. Her paycheck wasn't much bigger than his, but it came on time, and in her family's eyes, that made all the difference. Danielle's mother, Patricia, had never once called Marcus by his name at dinner, always, "the electrician," said the way you'd mention something stuck to your shoe. Her father, Gerald, a retired insurance adjuster, liked to ask Marcus at every holiday gathering when he planned on getting a real career. Marcus absorbed it quietly, the way he absorbed most things, believing that if he just worked harder, stayed later, took one more emergency call, eventually it would be enough. It never was. Danielle's sister, Renee, was the sharpest with her words. She'd married a pharmacist and never let a family dinner pass without comparing kitchens, cars, vacations, always somehow landing on how Marcus's overtime pay barely covered rent. "I don't know how you do it, Danielle," Renee said one Thanksgiving, loud enough for the whole table to hear. "Married to a man who smells like an extension cord." The table laughed. Marcus laughed too, because that was easier than the alternative. But at night, lying next to Danielle, he'd feel her sigh in the dark, a sound that had started to mean disappointment instead of tiredness. She never defended him anymore. Somewhere over the years, she'd started agreeing with her family more than standing beside her husband. She'd remind him, gently at first and then less gently, that her co-workers' husbands took them to nice restaurants, bought them anniversary trips, didn't come home smelling like copper wire and drywall dust. Marcus kept working. He picked up side jobs on weekends, rewiring a widow's garage for free because she was on a fixed income, staying 2 extra hours on a Friday night to fix a family's air conditioning before a heat wave hit. He was, by any honest measure, one of the hardest working men anyone in that family knew. But hard work wasn't the currency they respected. The end came on a Tuesday. Danielle served the papers at the kitchen table, not with tears, but with the same flat tone she used to read grocery lists. "I can't keep living like this, Marcus. My family was right. You had 11 years to become something, and you didn't." He didn't argue. He signed where she pointed, packed 2 duffel bags of clothes and his father's old tool chest, and left the house they'd rented for 6 years without raising his voice once. Patricia hosted a small celebration that weekend. She called it a fresh start brunch, where Renee toasted to Danielle finally being free of dead weight. Gerald told anyone who'd listen that his daughter had wasted enough good years. None of them asked how Marcus was doing. None of them cared to. He moved into a 1-bedroom apartment above a laundromat, the hum of dryers rattling the floorboards at night, and for the first time in a decade, he was alone with his own thoughts, and they were not kind ones. He wondered if his ex-wife's family had been right about him all along. He wondered if 11 years of hard work simply meant nothing if it didn't come with a bigger number attached. 3 weeks after the divorce was finalized, Marcus stood in line at a gas station off Highway 6, buying a lottery ticket the way he did most Fridays, $5, same numbers every time. His father's birthday. His mother's birthday. The day he got his electrician's license, the only day in his adult life he remembered feeling truly proud of himself, before anyone had a chance to tell him it wasn't enough. His father, Earl Webb, had also been an electrician, dead 9 years now from a heart attack on a job site, still wearing his tool belt when the paramedics arrived. Marcus kept one of his father's screwdrivers in his truck's glove box, worn smooth from 40 years of use. "Hard work is never wasted, son," Earl used to say. Even when nobody's watching. Marcus wanted to believe that. Some nights, driving home from 12-hour shifts, he wasn't sure anymore. He tucked the ticket into his wallet, behind a faded photo of his father, and didn't think about it again until the following Wednesday night, when the numbers came up on the small television in his apartment, and he sat completely still for 4 full minutes before he trusted himself to check the ticket a second time. By Thursday morning, Marcus Webb's name was confirmed by the State Lottery Commission, the largest single jackpot in the state's history, just over $3 billion, paid in full to one ticket holder. The story broke on every local news channel by noon, then national outlets by evening. Reporters found him outside his apartment above the laundromat, cameras flashing, microphones shoved toward a man who still had grease under his fingernails from a job he'd worked that same morning, because nobody had told him yet that he never had to work again. "I just want to thank my father," Marcus said quietly into the cameras, his voice steady but his eyes wet. "He taught me that hard work matters, even when nobody sees it." I believed him. I still do. Across town, in Patricia and Gerald's living room, the entire family sat gathered for Sunday dinner exactly as they had for years, plates untouched, eyes locked on the screen. Danielle set her fork down slowly. Renee's mouth hung open. Nobody said a word for a long time. Then Patricia, in a voice barely above a whisper, said what none of them wanted to admit: "We need to call him." They called. Danielle called first, her voice softer than Marcus had heard it in years, talking about how she'd always believed in him deep down. Renee sent a message 2 days later, suddenly remembering fond childhood stories about Marcus that had never once been mentioned before. Gerald left a voicemail suggesting they let bygones be bygones, family is family. Marcus listened to every message. He didn't return a single one. What none of them knew was that an old family group chat, the one where Renee had mocked his coveralls, where Patricia called him the electrician like a slur, where Gerald joked he'd die broke and unloved, had been leaked online by a cousin who'd had enough of their cruelty and their sudden change of heart. It went viral within a day, screenshots circulating under captions like, "This is why he didn't call back." The same family that once measured Marcus's worth in a bank statement was now being measured by millions of strangers, and the number didn't look good on them. 6 months later, Marcus stood in front of a newly built training center in southeast Houston, the Earl Webb Academy for Electrical Trades, named after his father, offering free certification to young people who couldn't otherwise afford it. Reporters asked if he had any message for his ex-wife's family, now that the video had made them local punchlines. Marcus paused, thinking of his father's screwdriver still riding in his glove box. "I'm not interested in revenge," he said. "I spent 11 years being told hard work wasn't enough. I built this so nobody else has to hear that." He didn't take Danielle's calls. He didn't accept Gerald's dinner invitation. But he did send Patricia's church a donation for their food pantry, unsigned, because his father had also taught him that dignity wasn't about punishing people, it was about refusing to become them. Marcus Webb married again 2 years later, to a woman named Yolanda, a fellow tradesperson who'd never once asked what he made before she asked what kind of man he was. At the Academy's first graduation, 40 new electricians walked the stage, and Marcus stood in the back, quietly proud, exactly the way his father had taught him, even when nobody was watching.